So Carla, other than talking about, letting people, air their anxieties, do we have any new information actually?
Well, the chancellor met with everyone yesterday. I know that they're
Okay.
supposed to be, they do like a weekly meeting,
Mhm.
usually on Wednesday evenings. And so we try to meet on Thursdays. And right now we're still waiting for the third quarter budget report to come out. We don't have it yet.
Mhm.
Hopefully we'll have it in the next week, which would be great. That would make things a lot easier. And in the meantime, I think mostly what we're doing is waiting for the governor's office to let us know whether they're going to be providing any additional federal funding. And there's a lot of waiting.
Yeah, I know. This is all I'm doing.
Yeah, it's unsatisfying, but it's definitely.
That's to put it mildly.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, it's like
I'm hoping
super
that
anxiety causing.
exactly, and I'm really hoping that what this will mean is that we can kind of be able to have a conversation today that where people are not as strained, about what's going on. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. I know. Well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
It's tough times.
All right, we're going to start letting people in. We're at the 5-minute mark. We're expecting close to 500 participants. So this is going to be quite a meeting.
500?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Carly, just do as good as you did the last time. You really managed it well. So
thanks. I'm hoping everyone plays nicely with me in the sandbox again today.
And let me
taking notes.
I'm
taking notes and learning for Senate. Because I don't know how good I manage with all those people.
It's I used to run a courtroom that had about 200 people in the courtroom, plus the full staff, and then all of their family members were sitting in a hallway. And you learn very, very quickly how to have a conversation with an awful lot of people at once in a way where people are not going to be panicking too much. So, all right, here we go. Are you guys ready? Room's opening up. We have 49 people joining us now. Hi, everyone. I think everyone is probably going to be muted when they're entering into the room. And since we're not going to get started for another 3 or 4 minutes, please feel free to unmute yourself and chat away.
Hi, Carla.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Hanging in there.
You got a lot on your plate. You're our technical guru.
Well, yeah, my life just changed overnight when this happened. So
I can imagine. And here you were thinking that it was going to be done after strategic planning. Gotcha.
Yay, Albert. Yay, Albert. Yay, Delaware.
Thank you.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Andre. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Carla. How are you? Hi, everyone.
Well. Hello, everybody.
It's good to see you all.
Yes, it is.
We're already at 70 people. We're expecting between 280 and 500 participants in today's meeting.
Hi, Carla. How you doing?
Wow.
Carla, what changed in Albert's life? You were talking about Albert. What changed?
Well, Albert's reoccupancy committeeing with us now.
Oh.
So, and he's doing all the CTLT and computer and laptop work. So he's got a lot on the plate.
Thank you, Albert.
You're welcome.
Is that from your, are you in your home office?
Yeah, I'm in my home office, yes. But I have to say the most exciting project I'm working on is the NSO project, getting that transferred into a virtual environment.
You got Yvonne doing a whole dance about it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that
I'm
that
loving
group.
it. I'm loving it.
Can you tell us more about it?
Well,
Is it NSA? Is it confidential?
no, it's not confidential, but I know Manny's on the line. I figure I'll let him shine the light, being that that's his thing.
Albert deserves extremely sincere gratitude and props for wonderful.
Yes, he does.
Collaborating with a good group of a good working group on new student orientation, and getting that online is no small task. But sincerely would not be possible at all if not for Albert's involvement, leadership, guidance, and problem solving.
Albert, thank you. You're my man of the year. I mean, with all that you did with the conversion, I want to say thank you.
Well, it was a team of us, so I want to also give my team a shout out as well. I think Delwar is on the line as well.
Is there one on the line? Thank you. I mean, you guys did a great job having the faculty and staff to move from campus to offline. I mean, that was really great. I can't thank you enough. And I know, in fact, somebody called me to tell me the work you guys are doing. They called and they thought Blackboard was something you write on. They don't know Blackboard is a magnet.
It's so true.
And you gave them a quick 20-minute tutorial on Blackboard. And I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to both. I'd be in a ditch somewhere without you.
We're all here to help each other.
It's so funny. Before March 12th, never heard of Zoom or WebEx. I mean, it's. I joked with somebody, if we knew Zoom was going to be the order of the day, I would have bought all of the shares available in Zoom because.
Yeah, like all our senators, President Second.
Yes.
Why should we be different?
Why should we be different?
That's right. Join the crowd, right?
And who would have thought that Skype was going to not take this one? I thought Skype had a decade on everybody else.
Yeah. I think people don't like the annoying Skype, but it always says Skype in the corner.
I knew of Skype. I've never heard of Zoom. I knew of Skype. I mean, it's amazing. Even the PMB and all of the other meetings we do, we've used Zoom and it works very well. The WebEx, again, I'm not as familiar, but I've used WebEx. We use in fact, we just got up a WebEx meeting, and that's what we use. We check in every day with one another via WebEx. And it's amazing what the technology is going to change the nature and the place of work.
Yeah, I think it did already.
It did already, yeah. For some of us, I think it's a learning experience. Loic, I called you 2 days ago. I mean, I don't know what I did. My laptop just went buzzing, and I said, oh, what went on here? He told me, calm down, you didn't destroy anything.
Yeah, you're back up. Everything's good.
You know.
We have 166 people with us right now, and I know for sure we had 275 who were registered. So if we could just give it another couple of minutes, since we're letting people in from the waiting room, it may take a little bit longer for everyone to just get in and settle before we get started.
But it's so cool to see the mosaic of the different faces. It just looks like a rainbow. I mean, this is really cool. I see Cynthia. I see
Hello.
Barbara Hart. I see Barbara Hart. Elsie.
Is that Elsie or Elise?
Elise. I take the glasses. I see Sharon, Yvonne, Seth. Running, I see you almost every time. So you see, where is your card? Is your card hopping around the corner there? There's a card that is going to come across the screen as long as Ronnie is on. I see Marianne, I think. That, like, yeah. Delwa, thank you. Somebody has a chair there, has his BB, but there's no face to it. Manny Lopez, you don't want us to see your face. Why did you on videos?
You know,
it's not cocktail hour yet. It's too early for cocktails
today.
Manny hasn't done his hair yet, right, Manny? You haven't done your hair yet. That's what it is.
I've not done my hair.
Yes.
You've not done your. Sorry, you don't have any to do to begin with. Oh, I see the card now.
Here, I brought one baby.
Oh,
There you go.
a big baby. That's a well-fed
Yeah,
baby.
he was born last summer.
The baby eats a lot.
So he's getting, his father is really, really big. His father is an outside cat. So, yeah.
You
So,
know
Ronnie,
you have
who's your
great
favorite-
people.
Who's your favorite Marvel movie? What's your favorite Marvel movie, Ronnie?
Mine?
Yeah, curious.
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it.
Yeah.
All of them. All of them
All
are
of
good.
them.
They're all good, yeah.
I like Black Panther. I also like Thorn.
Yeah, Thor is up there. But I can't choose, honestly. I love all of them.
Hello, Alex's tiny person.
Hello.
You
I
scared
see
her
Michael,
away.
Jessica Paoli. I think that's you that I see.
She's more than welcome to join us for the meeting.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Jasenia.
Hey.
Oh my God, there's 8 pages now of people.
We have 204 people with us right now.
9 pages, Ronnie.
9, I see.
I see 11. I see
I got
11.
11 pages too.
You can scroll, there are arrows that come up on the sides, and you can scroll
Oh,
through
okay. I get it now.
the collage
Okay.
of people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, this definitely is bigger than Senate. So I'm not complaining anymore.
Not complaining.
No.
Hi, Gloria. Hi, Teresa.
And
So if
those
you
are
just-
those people that are coming in on video, don't make the mistake that I did. Thank God for Delvar. He said, your video camera's on and you're there in a tank top. And he texted me and I said, oh yeah, I know. It actually was an accident, but whatever.
You're home.
We're home, exactly. You guys used to seeing me in a tie and a jacket, so
Yeah.
Thank you.
now you know I'm human.
But I tell you what, I miss that dressing up in the morning. I really do. I mean, you want to dress up in the morning, you wake up, you dress up, and
I don't.
you don't.
Thank you.
No. Did you see that meme? That meme that says, "I think my shoes think I'm dead," or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Because
nobody gets dressed anymore. That's it.
Just from the waist up.
Yes.
When you have to do this.
Yes.
Yeah. We're not going to go, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Pajamas are very comfortable, but I wouldn't wear them into class. Pajama bottoms, yeah.
So it looks like we have, it's about 5 after, 6 after. I will continue to make sure that we're letting people in as the meeting gets started. It looks like some people might be potentially getting booted out and coming back into the room. So we'll keep adding folks until we hit 500. We are expecting somewhere between 280 and 500 participants with us today. So as we get started, I am going to be muting everyone's microphones. I know that we have phones ringing in the background and ambulances driving by houses. And so we'll do that just to make sure that there is no additional background noise that keeps us from all being able to hear the people who are speaking. From a housekeeping note, I would ask that people use a couple of tools that are in Zoom if you're not familiar with them yet. In the top right-hand corner of your screen, you should see, if you move your cursor, an option for speaker view or an option for gallery view. If you're interested in seeing everyone who is in the room with you rather than just me while I'm talking or whoever's speaking, then you can click that and it'll give you the option of seeing everyone in a gallery panel. At the very bottom of your screen, you should see a series of features. In the very center of those features, one of them is the chat button. If you would click your chat button, you can keep that open throughout today's town hall. That'll give you an option to see what people are asking about in case you plan on asking the same question. It'll also give you the ability to either write a question for the entire room to see, or you can use the to button and write directly to me if you do not wish to have everyone know that you're asking the question. Some people don't feel comfortable speaking in rooms that are of this size, and so if you're not, you're more than welcome to reach out to me directly, and I'll see that and make sure I ask those questions as well. Today, we have a number of people who are going to be speaking. First, the president's going to be talking from a very high level about the state of the college and the university and what's been going on since our last town hall meeting. Next will be Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Lester Sandres-Rapolo, who's going to talk about course capacity, online training and professional development, and enrollment issues. Next will come Vice President for Administration and Finance, Kay Ellis, speaking to you about budget and the reoccupancy committee that's been recently established. And following her will be Vice President for Student Success, Irene Delgado, who's going to chat with us today about enrollment and student support services. And last but not least, Richard Ginsburg, our Assistant Vice President for Communications and Marketing, is going to be addressing you about the ongoing marketing efforts, both to attract and maintain faculty, staff, and students. So with all of that, I would ask that during the meeting today that you please do remain muted. If you would rather ask your question live than type it into the chat, then just say so in the chat and we'll make sure that we get you unmuted to ask the question. We would hope that, given that anxiety is running very high among everyone in the country and people within CUNY regarding what's been going on with budgets and finances and health, that people try to be as cordial as possible, understanding that we're in a very large room full of people who have a lot of different types of sensitivities about what we're talking about. So please try to be as cordial as possible to your fellow coworkers, and we will do the same. So with that, I will turn this over to President Sekenegbe. President Sekenegbe, if you give me just 1 second, I will get you unmuted. You should be all set. I'm guessing you might be trying to unmute yourself at the same time that I'm trying to unmute you. All right. President, if you could go to the very bottom left-hand corner of your screen and click, there we go. I think you're unmuted now.
I'm unmuted, okay. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Carla Williams, I want to say thank you for serving as the moderator to our third virtual town hall meeting. Again, just scrolling through the 9, it's not 10 pages. I went as far as to 9 the last time around. It's really gratifying for me to see all of the faces. And I said earlier on, it's like a rainbow, it's like a mosaic of, you all made my day by calling in. I want to say thank you to everyone. Before we go into the meat and substance of the townhouse or the virtual townhouse, we all know that we've been gone since March from campus. And since we left, we've lost some members of our community. And some members of community, they've lost relations, some due to COVID and some due to other illness. I'm going to ask that we just maintain for about 60 seconds. We'll bow our heads down and a moment of silence for the people that we've lost in our community, or their relations. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It's so good to see everybody again. It really, I've been looking forward to this since the last time, really. You know, we've been gone for almost 2 months from campus, and I want to say it's gratifying to know, although we're not physically on campus, I said to somebody yesterday, it's good to know that the work of our main core business is educating our students, and really that work is still going on despite the fact that we're not here on campus. Where we're here tomorrow, which is Friday the 30th, will have been Friday will have been our commencement day for our students. In my own way, in this business for the last 30 years, that's my most gratifying day, just seeing the students, the pomp and the pageantry, students walking around, the faculty and people to get their diploma. Unfortunately, this is not going to happen this time around. We're postponing it, and hopefully sometimes we're going to be able to hold our 60th commencement. I just wanted to, on behalf of the students, say thank you to all of the faculty, to all of the staff that have really mentored, that have shepherded the students behind the scene. I did a video this morning, which I said to the students, you're my heroes. Despite the situation we're going through in the country, the students have persevered. and they're going on to achieve their diplomas and degree, which is something really, if you come to think about it. So in my own humble way, I just want to say thank you to all of you, especially to the faculty, Albert and Cole, the technology staff, people in the advisement group, and everybody that has really made this possible for all of our students. I don't want to leave anybody out. So I want to say thank you to all of you for making this possible. Yes, we're not going to have our ceremony tomorrow, the 29th, but we have a virtual celebration in June that Manny and Irene, they've been working tirelessly to put together. It's virtual, but my hope is really this, that we'll bring the students back here someday and actually have our 60th commencement ceremony. I'm truly looking forward to that. Now, I know the next question people will ask me, yes, we're going to be seeing off one student. What is going to happen in the fall? I wish I can give you an answer today and say, this is what is going to be in the fall. We had a conference call with the chancellor yesterday evening, and from what you can imagine, even from the president's level, that's the same question we're asking. As a university, we've not decided this really what the modality is going to be in the fall. I know you're going to ask, why is this taking so long? You know, there are a lot of complicated factors involved in this. There's obviously the public health issue that is involved. We don't want to bring people back too early to campus or earlier than we're supposed to do. There are other constituencies that the chancellor has to consult with in making this decision. It's my hope that sooner or later we're going to know what modality we're going to do. The summer we already know it's going to be all online. I think Lester is going to talk about some of the training that is going on for people that want to teach, that are going to be teaching online during the summer. In the fall, whatever modality or whatever way we go, I know as an institution, we're going to be ready to go along that route. And as part of coming back in the fall, we're really looking ahead to thinking, either we come back all in full, there are 3 modes that are possible, or we do back online, all online, or maybe we do online and we do some part of the labs in section here. Whatever any of those 3 modes that we go, I think we're getting ready to be prepared for it. The reoccupancy committee, which is chaired by Lester and by Kay, and I think some of you are serving as members of that committee. The committee will be meeting soon to start looking at all of the different options and to really prepare us. I don't know if you read the article yesterday in the New York Times, which is really sobering article of the impact of COVID-19 in the Bronx and in our community. I read it yesterday. It was really sobering, which means even if no matter what form we're going to come back in the fall here on our campus here, which means, I think we talked about it this morning at our cabinet meeting, we got to be extra prepared. In other way, if we're going to bring students back here or anybody back here in the fall. The article yesterday basically talked about the devastating impact of COVID-19 in the Bronx. So we are aware of all of that. Part of this task of the reoccupancy committee is to really see, what do we do to the buildings? What do we do to our labs? What do we do? How do you maintain social distancing rules and all of that? Even in the instructional areas, what things do we need to do? So I just needed to know that we're looking at all of that. In addition to that, there is a university-wide COVID-19 task force that is chaired by the Chief Operating Officer, Hector Batista, and the University Provost. They are going to be coming up with some guidelines too that they're going to give on to the different campuses. I've said to the task force, whenever we get those guidelines from the university, we're going to have to take them and adapt them to suit our situation here on our campus here. I think that's really, really critical. As soon as we know about what modality we're going to do in the fall, I know how it affects our students and everybody. We're going to definitely communicate it to you. The next question I want to talk about is the budget. I want to say thank you to the PSC before I go into the weeds and details of the budget. I got a petition from the PSC this morning, signed, I believe, by 200 plus people. And Peter sent me the email and I responded to Peter Colosi right away. I want to say thank you for the petition. We're going to read it, and the language is there, and I'm going to study it and use it in making whatever decisions we need to make on campus here. But I won't say that I just need to be upright and upfront with everybody. We're in a tough fiscal year. This has to do with the state of our economy, both at the city level and at the state level. Preliminarily, we know we're going to have to take a budget call of 10%. If you take 10% of our $90 million, that's $9 million. It may be a situation of more than even 10%. Maybe if you do 12.5%, that's add another $1 million to it or so. There's all of that In June, I'm gonna be consulting with the different campus constituencies before we make any decision on how we're gonna go. We're waiting for some more information from CUNY. As soon as we do, I'm gonna go on a consultation route with all of the different groups, use the technology here to talk to different groups, the PMB, the Senate. I know the Senate has, I believe, a meeting set up already in June, in July and one in August. So it's a very difficult budget year, but we're going to involve everybody making decisions that at the end of the day that we think is going to work for our campus. And I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to pass it on to Lester Lapro to talk about the academic area. I know you have a lot of questions. I'm going to say, hold on to your questions. Let's go to the presentations. The first 30 minutes, we really want to talk. Then the next 1 hour, we're going to leave aside for questions.
And while Lester is unmuting himself, I just want to let the new people who've joined us, we have about 40 new participants in the chat, in the room. We're going to have everyone remain muted throughout today, just so everyone can hear. Please use the chat feature to ask questions. You can either ask them to me privately or ask them to the group. If you ask them to the group generally will respond back to you pretty quickly. The president is going to be speaking, followed by VP Rapolo, followed by VP Ellis, VP Delgado, and AVP Ginsburg. And with that, we turn it over to VP Rapolo.
Thank you so much, Carla. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, President. I just want to say thank you for everyone that is in here today, the 252 participants. It shows your commitment and your leadership, especially during these difficult times. As I mentioned, I'm going to talk about course capacity. Working with Luis and all the chairs, I personally I have been in contact, making phone calls via WebEx and discussing course capacity. We have been going back and forth whether the course capacity will be staying as it is right now, which is 25 in some cases. And the proposal is to move the course capacity to 30. It is my understanding that not only in CUNY, but in other institutions, the course capacity due to the current budget climate has gone up in some cases, up somewhere anywhere between 30 to 35, 36, and it obviously depends by region and state. Online training, I have been working with Luis and all the chairs to submit all the names to CUNY Central for the first cohort that took place in June. We submitted 68 names, and out of those 68 names, 64 were able to engage in this online training modality that will help faculty to be more technical savvy and teaching classes online. And we also have other trainings in July as well. And Dean Luis Montenegro is collecting all the names that the chairs are submitting to him, so that way we can submit the final list to CUNY Central. In addition, we also creating professional developments thanks to the leadership of Mark and Albert and Alex and Luis and Javier, Bernard, everyone in our team to create a very comprehensive professional development. And we have reached to several faculty members, from Monique to Jody and we're working in creating and expanding the list that we will have a robust committee to help our fellow faculty members to gain more skills to teaching in this new online modality that we're currently working on. I'm going to go over the enrollment plan that I have been working together with VP Delgado. And I want to say thank you to Patty, Bernard, Nadine, Karen, Linda, and everyone in the committee, from Kenneth, Nancy, everyone that has been in the committee. So when I started here in February 2020 at BCC, Irene and I, we worked together in creating what we call it an enrollment action plan that focuses on both enrollment and retention, right? And then obviously COVID-19 came in, so we have to transition everything to a distance modality, as we all know. So an enrollment action plan was developed and is being implemented as we speak, with the purpose of maintaining current enrollment for spring 2020 and securing sufficient enrollment in the fall 2020 to support student success and ensuring fiscal stability. We developed 6 goals. I'm going to go very briefly on those 6 goals, for I want to be respectful of everyone's time. The first goal was to optimize course scheduling, right? So we working right now in the summer 2020 course schedule and develop for a fully online modality. for the fall 2020 schedule, developed with options for fully online, hybrid, or in-person classes, depending upon CUNY final determination. And that our president mentioned it. Alternative option to explore for classes that do not easily migrate online. Nursing, art, music, labs are also in discussion with chairs and with CUNY Central as well. Goal number 2 was to develop a strategic innovation in support of distance learning. And I want to say thank you to everyone that has been involved in this effort, especially all the chairs for moving all the courses, or the majority of the courses, to a fully online modality. Administrative surveys, thanks to the leadership of Nancy, to determine experiences, needs of faculty, students' needs in distance modes. We assess campus capability to conduct academic supports remotely, whether that is tutoring, advising, and other components. Technical support, we have provided technical support. We will continue to provide technical support, email, class bags, support rooms, webinars. And thanks to the leadership of Ken and his team, we have a phone bank that have been very actively making hundreds of phone calls every day to make sure that we engage our students and we listen to our students' needs. And goal number 3, develop marketing and recruitment plans. We develop a clear and positive marketing message, included thanks to the leadership of Eddie Bayardell and Richard, that covers coverage of multiple news, right? And I'm sure that Richard is going to talk about the different initiatives that he has been involved. And we also have goal 4, 5, and 6 that our VP Delgado will chime in. Dr. Delgado, are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was hoping to show you the actual one pager, but unfortunately.
No, you can. Just give me one moment. I didn't realize you were going to be speaking before VP Ellis. Hold on.
No, not a problem. Let me know when I have authority. In the goal number 4 is to improve the enrollment process. And one of the things that we identified is to have a comprehensive calendar of all the enrollment activities. Every office has their own calendar, but we really need to unify all of them. So we have started that process. We're also looking at in retention initiatives within FYS, peer mentors, and working with Nancy to develop some success metrics. And then lastly, in this format of being virtually online, we needed to create an NSO that is going to be online. Manny and Albert and Linda have really spearheaded that, working with various people such as Yvonne and Jasenia and Stephen Powers to create a really user-friendly guide for all the students. So those are the 6 goals, and they tie into, you know, the strategic plan that Nancy has developed.
VP Delgado, I believe you should be able to share your screen at this time.
Okay, well, let's now, of course, I'm having technical
You have
difficulties. Here we go. Wait a minute. Let's see. Let's see. Can she do it? Come on. Come on. You can do it. Did that show up for everybody?
No.
I think it's loading.
Should be popping. It should be slowly popping up. So if anybody, I will make sure that Carla Renee gets a copy of this, and then she can put it up with the notes that go with this presentation.
And that concludes our presentation, my part of the presentation. I'm sure that I want to give time to Kate and Irene to discuss their initiatives.
Okay, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Are we specifically addressing the what's on the screen, or?
I just wanted to personally, I just wanted to highlight the in essence, you know, because I'm sure that a lot of people will have questions regarding different initiatives. So I just wanted to highlight the different goals that we're working on. But I don't want to go into much in depth because I have shared some of these initiatives. I really not have shared some of these initiatives with all the chairs and the community. But we're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to send them to the members in here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
With that, we would turn it over to VP Delgado. And VP Delgado, we have a couple, excuse me, Ellis, we have a couple of questions that have come through that you may be able to discuss a little bit while you are doing your intro. One of them is regarding when the deadline is for BCC to submit its budget to CUNY Central. If you can talk a little bit about the timing of the budget process. And also if there has been any public announcement from CUNY or from the city or state about the planned potential 10% budget cut. And if so, is that a document that might be made available to members of the campus community? with that, I believe you should be unmuted.
Excellent. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi, everyone. It's nice to be here with you all today. Before we answer the questions, what I think might be helpful is if we start with our third quarter summary of where we are. The third quarter for CUNY ended March 31st. That's our third quarter of the fiscal year. While the third quarter official report will be presented to the Board of Trustees on June 8th, and as soon as we get an official copy of that, it'll be posted on the website. You'll be able to go to the Bronx Community College Administration and Finance. There's a resources posted on that page. You'll be able to see it, and we'll also alert the chairs and the administrative folks that third quarter report has been posted. Right now, the third quarter report was heavily, the March 31st ended before the full impact of the COVID situation. So our third quarter report will indicate that we have had impact from the previous declining state resources, and in addition, the declining enrollment on the campus. Right now for this fiscal year, our full-time equivalents have reduced 7%, so that brings us to 7,025 FTEs, student FTEs, and our full-time headcount, our student total headcount, has reduced 5% to 10,040. Those numbers are important because that is part of our revenue. So that indicates what resources are available to the college. During this fiscal year, our overall resources, campus-based allocations, reduced from 95.1 million to 90.6 million. That reduction is reflected in the third quarter, but I might add that the third quarter closed before the full impact of the COVID was seen. We will start to see additional impact in the fourth quarter. Moving into the third quarter, we knew that the state was going to see a $6 billion reduction in resources. COVID now, experts are reporting that that is going to triple. So that sets the foundation for our fourth quarter actuals and our fiscal year 21 budget planning. Now, related to COVID, before I move on, related to COVID, I just wanted to let you know that the university is actively working to, Congress has passed 4 bills, which you've all heard about, and they're actively working right now on a 5th bill. That 5th bill will give additional resources to the state should it be passed. But in addition, we have some good news that the Federal Reserve is actually committed to ensuring the resources are there. So that will help us longer term with capital investments. The third piece that's important for us to note is FEMA is poised to hopefully also assist. So thank you to all the divisions for collecting information related to their payroll services, and when they're entering requisitions, noting that they're COVID, because that helps us to compile a report, which we'll be giving to FEMA with the hopes of getting full or partial reimbursement. So there is hope that we will be getting additional funding, but related to the tax levy allocation that we have, it is, as the president mentioned, it is a challenging situation, and we're navigating effectively through it, but it is going to be a interesting fourth quarter. To go to your questions related to the timing of the budget cut, I think that was one question, Carla.
The first question is related to the timing of our budgeting process. So specifically, we talk about submitting a budget or having to review and consult on a budget. Can you talk a little bit about when that process takes place? When does BCC need to be reviewing budget information and consulting on it before we return our budget request back to CUNY?
Okay, so I think an important distinction is that CUNY has a budget and we receive a campus-based allocation. Our campus-based allocation is effectively almost totally payroll services, except for currently 6.7 million is allocated to other than payroll services, and that's down from over 9 million. So the planning process really starts the July before, and it is a pretty much ongoing process. But the key dates are when CUNY releases and the city and state release their budget, because that's when we know what our budget allocation is going to be. And as I stated before, our budget allocation is predominantly all payroll services, and those are people who are on staff right now. The new budget year begins July 1st. So any changes, new actions, any innovations or new projects, the student tech fee process is currently underway, and that budget goes in June 1st, and the tax levy allocation needs to be finalized by June 30th, and that's really kind of where we are right now with the various VPs and planning, as the president mentioned, planning now for next year to absorb what we anticipate to be a 10% reduction from our current position.
I know we've had a question come up about where can people see these numbers? And the June Board of Trustees meeting is right around the corner for CUNY. At that Board of Trustee meeting, they're going to be finalizing the third quarter report for each of the CUNY institutions. As soon as that report is finalized and released to us, then we will share it widely across the campus community and specifically with individual constituent groups like the Senate and Faculty Council and the department chairpersons, so that they can begin the process of consulting on that. With that, just so that we're thoughtful about time, let's pivot over to AVP Ginsburg. And I believe that he is also going to be sharing something on screen, if I'm not mistaken.
I was told no, but so I can put that report up on the communication and marketing pages and just take you through it quickly in the interest of time, because I know
that would be great.
There's a lot of questions. So it was asked of us after VP Deans and Chairs to put together sort of a consolidated marketing plan of things that we're doing now, what we're going to be doing in the future. Howard Clapman had asked that. I will send out an email to everybody where you can find that. But I just want to take you through quickly what we're doing. So what does BC marketing include? It includes paid advertising, social media, both organic and paid, internal/external communication tools, things like our weekly update, our on-campus, which are both used to talk about events and happenings on the campus, and profiles of both faculty and staff and students, highlights, our annual report, of course, our website. We have a podcast, and we have two really nice tools called Fast Facts and BCC Value. We also do a tremendous amount of press outreach, which includes CUNY vehicles and both local and national media outlets. A lot of what I can talk about today is the things that we have in rotation now. All marketing plans and campaigns are fluid. They're influenced by circumstances, events, and more importantly now, budget. So there's not too much pre-planning I can do until we find out what's happening with the new fiscal year. So currently, we have two paid advertising initiatives. We have put together 3 TV spots for Altice Cable and we have paid social media in support of both of those initiatives are in support of enrollment for both summer and fall. We partnered with Altice because they have a proprietary software program that evaluates both geographic and demographic audience and provides the prospective advertiser, in this case us, BCC, with exactly what cable network channels and which shows that our demographic are watching and at what time of the day they're watching it. So we were able to create 3 spots that spoke to enrollment. One that talks about immediate decision, stay local, make it count. That was one of the initiatives. The second spot talks about all the wraparound services that we offer. And the third spot speaks to our superior faculty, our award-winning faculty, and the fact that you can get a world-class education right here in the Bronx. That buy will start effective June 1st. We're in the final stages of production of putting that together. Those spots will also be translated into Spanish and run on the Spanish-speaking stations because we understand the importance of that demographic to this community. The other thing that we're doing is a paid social media enrollment campaign in support of summer and fall enrollment. The beauty of a paid social media campaign is that we can really understand the return on investment, what people are seeing and what actions they're taking on our website to specific clicks, which pages they're looking at, and where they're going. To date, I can tell you that we've had, with spending about $3,000, we've had almost 500,000 people reached with those ads. We have something like 2,800 page views, and the statistics will be in my report on the communication and marketing pages. You can look at the statistics. We will update those weekly on that page so you can see the effectiveness of that as well. I will tell you that 1,002 people have gone to CUNY first from our site, generated from those ads, and that's positive information because we know that they go there for a very specific reason. We will start our paid social media budget June 1st as well for the fall enrollment. So I think you could start to see, all things considered, I would hope that there'll be a bump in enrollment figures based on these 2 paid initiatives. Future paid advertising, folks, I can't tell you what that's going to look like. I just, at this point, I'm at a loss. We have 2 internal, external communication tools that are paid. One is called Bcc Fast Facts. That is a snapshot of economic, demographic, and educational profiles of our student population. It helps us to shape the understanding of our core population and dictate how we recruit and cater to existing and future students. I work very closely with a lot of people on this campus to compile that stuff, and it's updated annually. The cost for that is printing, and I don't know what that printing cost will be at this point. The second tool is called BCC Value. This is an important marketing piece which highlights the debt-free economic value of our BCC education, enrollment, diversity statistics, student highlights and award, faculty highlights, BCC advantages such as ASAP, wraparound services, and it's used in a valuable recruiting and fundraising tool. The cost of that is merely printing for that as well. We are currently working on next year's annual report, which should be finished by the end of the year. Our annual report looks back at the year prior. It's an important document for internal and external constituents, helps us with fundraising and to showcase the facts, figures, and life at BCC over the past year. The cost for the annual report is printing. Now let's talk about really important things like no-cost communication tools, because we're moving into a point where we're going to have to rely more heavily on that. So that's things like organic social media and podcasts. We run a tremendous amount of organic social media every day on a wide range of things, from student successes, events that are happening on campus, and what have you. The highlight for this year was our Power of Perseverance social media campaign that ran throughout the whole month of May. We asked participants to provide a 45-second video clip introducing themselves and to talk about the power of perseverance for our student body. We got tremendous amount of support from some really great people like Chuck Schumer, our BCC alum, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, who is a Senate Majority Leader, Ruben Diaz Jr., our Bronx Borough President, as well as Kathleen Gillibrand and many others. So it was a positive message for our student, which is what we try to do. We utilized all of the participants' social media handles as well so that we could further the reach. We have podcasts that we developed this year. 3 podcasts have run already. The president talking about his view of the college, Dr. Neil Phillip, chairperson of the Department of Chemistry, discussing his scientific journeys to Australia, India, and Majorca, and we had some of the students there. Upcoming ones are Andre Christie, the program director of CUNY College Explorers, with a student assistant, Professor Gloria Rodriguez, on the creator of Women Up, and as well as Elizabeth Paymans, head of Future Now. We have the ability to record you if you would like to highlight one of your programs, one of your course highlights. We would love to sit down and talk with you. It is distributed wherever podcasts are displayed and listened to. So it's a no-cost, really good opportunity, and I urge you to contact me so that we can create that for you as well. We do update every week, an electronic newsletter. Every single week we compile information, important news, highlights for events and students and faculty and staff. That goes out every week. It's a real, it's a lot of work to get that out every week, but we make sure that we do that. We cover a lot of information there. We have our monthly electronic newsletter called On Campus. That's every week to every month to 6 weeks. And that also features a lot of the information that's going on around our campus. We do a lot of press coverage, print and digital, daily news, New York Times, Times of India, Bronx Times. We have a weekly Bronx Net talk show appearance. We've started that about a month ago. So far, we've had Delegate Pichardo and Fernandez talking about the Student Laptop Initiative and the money that they raised in help of our student body. VP Delgado was speaking about all of the things that are going on campus, students and enrollment for fall and spring as well. The provost was on last week, also discussing a lot of initiatives, and President Sekenegbi will be on next week. That usually tapes on Monday and is repeated throughout the week. We have opportunities for you to come on to promote really big events, really good happenings, any of the programs that you want to push and talk about. It's a 10-minute segment that gives you an opportunity to really look at what you need to do or what you can do and help to promote.
Thank you so much, Richard. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I know we're running really, really tight on time. We do have, I believe, information about what you've been addressing here that's going to be made available on the website.
That is
and
correct.
If you have any questions or concerns about the marketing and enrollment initiatives, please reach out to Richard directly and also to VP Bayardell. If you have any additional questions, they can definitely answer them. I want to make sure that I start by capturing the essence of some of the questions that are in the chat and giving the president an opportunity to address them. I want to then punt it over to Irene to see if she had any follow-up remarks from the VP of Student Success before we go straight into all the questions. President, if you could begin by addressing a few issues. First, to talk a little bit about the process by which we will go through budgeting this year, particularly focusing on the time frame in which we'll do that and how we will be incorporating BCC faculty, staff, and students into that consultation process. If you can, in that, also talk a little bit about what we should be expecting as far as the role of reappointments and non-reappointments of adjuncts and other members of the campus community as they relate to budget balancing and reductions. If you could talk a little bit about that, and then we will head straight to Irene and into the questions.
Thank you for really doing this by way. There are 2 questions I want. Somebody asked, where is it reading that is 10% or 12%? There is no written document from CUNY that says 10%. In our conversations at the councils of presidents, in fact, that the city, from the city this financial year in 20, we had to return $20 million back to the city right after we left campus because of the shortfall in revenues coming to the city. For next year, we've been asked, in addition to the $20 million as a community college sector, to expend a cut of 18 million. So for the community colleges, that's $38 million right off the bat for the community college sector. From the state, from the state budget that was even passed pre-COVID-19, we were basically getting a down cut in funding from the state as compared to our FTE. If you throw all of that in the mix, in our conversation with the Chancellery and the central office, basically, we were figuring that for community colleges, it would be a 10% cut in budget this year. So 10% of your allocation from last year. From what Case said, if our budget last year was 90 million, if you take 10% of that, that's how we come up with the 9 million. So there's no written document where it's basically saying this. It may even be worse than that because we don't know. The budgetary process at the university is ongoing. The board has a meeting in June, I believe June 20 something for its June meeting. That's where the university budget will be adopted, I believe. The university is waiting for a whole lot more information from the city and from the state before making final decisions on the budget here. Once we know what the exact number is it 10%, is it 9%, is whatever it is from there, we are going to trigger that into motion to start planning. On my own, I'm assuming that the worst case scenario now is 9%, which is $9 million. And again, I don't want to go on a wild goose chase and start spreading panic when I don't actually know what the number is. I've been meeting with the provost, I've been meeting with Kay to look at all of the areas. Everything is on the table in closing the $9 million shortfall, as if we're going to take that cut from the state. From staff, from faculty, programs, travel, food, membership to different associations. I'm looking at the different areas. I think there's a question that says, show me the programs you're going to cut from non-academic areas, or what are you going to do from programs that are non-academic? In my mind, we're going to look at all of the staffing situation. We're going to look at all of the program situation. You got to realize that this information is coming May 28th, which is, I don't even have the information. I'm going to get this information in June. There are some things that I cannot do because of contracts and all of that things in place. I'm learning. So whatever we have to manage the situation for this fiscal year, we're going to do the best that we can to make sure we preserve the human resources on our campus here. So yesterday I said to them, how much do we normally spend on food? How much do we normally spend on travel? How much do we normally spend on this? I'm looking at everything. The reality is if I have to close a $9 million budget, I have to close a $9 million budget. If it comes to $12 million budget, I have to close a $12 million budget. And I'm going to put every issue on the table in doing that. I'm hoping that right after the board meeting or before the board meeting, CUNY will give us some more concrete definitions to say, this is the cut you're going to get, or put it in writing to me, or this is the amount of money you're going to get. What I have to come with in consulting with the different groups, have at least an idea that I will share with the groups. I can do that now because I don't have anything definite that I will share with the different groups. That consultation hopefully and definitely will take place in June once we get all of the information. And on the CARES Act money, yes, we got the money that came from the federal government to BCC, I believe it's about $9.6 million. 50% of that money is going directly to the students. The checks were mailed out this week or sometimes last week to the students. I think I read a question that the average amount the students are getting, it depends on your Pell, how much you get in Pell. The higher Pell money you get, the more money you get through here. But if you look at average, I believe it's about 800 and something that each student is getting. The other 50% of the money, we're waiting for approval from the state on how to spend that money. The money cannot be used for operating budget. The money has to be spent on expenses related to COVID-19. Yes, I think there's a question there. Some of that money probably will go to professional development for faculty. Some of that money probably will use to buy software or simulation things that relate to be able to teach effectively online. Some of that money we have to use to pay when we had incidents on our campus related to COVID-19. We had to bring in specialists to clean all of those buildings. Some of that money will go into that expenses. I'm hoping, I said it this morning to my group, that we can use part of that money to make some of the physical changes that we have to make on campus before people come back to campus in the fall or whenever people come back. So that's the general situation with the budget. regarding layoff, there is no discussion right now of salary reduction to anybody. There is no discussion right now of any layoff to anybody. But again, I think I gotta be forthright with this group. Everything is on the table and I'm looking at everything. Carla, did I answer your question?
I believe so. We have thank you for everyone's patience as we're going. I'm trying to read the chats and manage the rooms, and there's a lot else going on this side, so I appreciate your patience. If we do not get to your question and you know that it was in the chat, if you could re-ask it, that would be very helpful because I'm going down the line as quickly as possible. President, tomorrow is May 29th, and that is the deadline for reappointment letters to go out regarding 3-year adjuncts. And can you speak to whether or not you have made any decisions or received any guidance from CUNY as to the state of the 3-year adjunct appointments?
The initial date was May 15th. The university was able to work out with PSC to delay the date to May 29th. As I think we discussed it in cabinet this morning. As I speak to you right now, I've not got any further clearance from CUNY as to whether that particular date is there. I know the provost has been speaking to the department chairs regarding, I believe there are 68 individuals in that particular category. I know Leicester has been speaking to the provost. At this point, no decision has been made. If the contractual date is May 29th, it's something which is tomorrow. We will deal with it when we get there tomorrow.
And I see that there were some additional questions. I just wanted to reconfirm that as of the Board of Trustees meeting that is coming up at the beginning of June, we should be receiving our 3rd quarter budget report, which would be shared widely across the campus community.
Absolutely. We've done that in the past. The 3rd quarter report, again, I think Kay talked about what she believes is going to be in that report. The official report, again, I think because of the off-campus working, the COVID-19, the report is usually out sometimes in March. The report is not out now. As soon as the report comes out of the board meeting in June, we're going to share with the PMB. I'm going to share with everybody.
And I do see a question just from housekeeping standpoint about whether or not there's going to be any more time to ask questions. We are working to make sure that we can answer all your questions between now and the end of the club hour. If there are additional questions that are not answered in this period of time, you can feel free to email me. I'll make sure my email is in the chat and I'll funnel your questions to the right places to make sure that you get answers. A question has come up about individuals not yet having access to laptops for the fall. Is there a plan for students to be able to, and my apologies, we skipped VP Delgado in the row of people who were speaking.
You want me to quickly answer that question? Then you
yes, please. And then I want to make sure VP Delgado has a chance to address the issues from her area.
Right. For all of the incoming new students beginning fall of 2020 that will be coming to BCC, thanks to some of the money we were able to secure from Victor Pichado, Assemblyman Victor Pichado, and Assemblyman woman, blanking out on her name. We have about 500,000 from that particular group. We're going to buy laptops. All of the new incoming students beginning fall, we want to make that as a tradition, beginning fall of 2020, we'll be giving a BCC laptop. We don't want to find ourselves in the situation we did this spring, where we had to buy laptops to give to students in the middle of the semester. The students will keep the laptop as long as they remain students of the college year. Same thing for the faculty. I am hoping that the second half of the COVID money, we should be able to use to buy some laptops and some other instructional equipment that we can give to faculty. You want to flip to Irene?
Yes, please. And VP Delgado, you should be set to share if you need to.
There are 2 points that I'd just like to address for everybody because I don't know if they saw it in the chat. First, in regards to the laptop, to date, as of yesterday, 1,161 laptops went out. That includes to Future Now and adult literacy programs. Out of that number, 10% went to staff. And as those requests come in, although now we're at the end of the semester, even up until 2 weeks ago, if a student wrote to us and said they needed a laptop, one was issued to them. An email is going out in the next 48 hours indicating to students if they have registered for a summer class, they can hold on to the laptop. If they register for a fall class, hold on to the laptop. And we're giving them ample time, and we have the call center reaching out to those students. Now, speaking of which, out of those students out of that 1,161, let's take 10% off the top to say that those are the staff. That's the number that I got from the week. Only 370 students have not registered. So more than 2/3 of the students who received a device in the spring have either registered for a summer course or a fall course. So I just wanted to put that out there in terms of the laptops. In returns to the CARES Act, I put it in the chat, but in case anybody missed it, as of 5/20, 6,286 students have been packaged at BCC. Their checks have already been going out. It is a range of $192 to $964, depending if they have dependents, if they're part-time, if they're full-time. Please remember that every student has to fill out a FAFSA in order to count for this. Out of that 6,286, 42 are jammed up. We are looking, financial aid is researching those 42. For example, 2 out of that 42 were no longer students. They had completely withdrawn. So therefore, they're not going to get money from us. I will have another update on those numbers next week, but those students are receiving their checks. Now, moving on to enrollment, I briefly just want to speak to, I'm going to take control. I believe Carla has given me.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. I'm just going to show the fall enrollment numbers that come from CUNY first. Please let me know when this actually shows up on your screen, or somebody just, Carla, give me the heads up that this showed up.
You're sharing. We're just waiting for the actual document. There it is. Document popped up.
Fantastic. This information is as of yesterday, 5 o'clock. You can see that the date is up here, 5/27. Okay, so if you look over here, Bronx, this is total head count. So we are currently at, yesterday, 3,979 students have registered for the fall, compared to last year on this exact day, 3,971. So we are 0.1 ahead of where we were last year. But please know that matching last year's number was a number that was on a decline. So when you see a chart that we send out every Monday, we have added 5% because we don't want to tie with last year, which is at a lower number. We want to beat that number. And I really need to stress the idea of, because I've spoken to some faculty who have said, well, Irene, if you get 20% more students, you know, that's going to fix the $9 million. It does not. I am not an accountant. But trust me when I tell you, increasing enrollment by 20% isn't going to fix the $9 million. So I just need to put that out there because I'm fielding that question. That's all I really wanted to say about enrollment.
And VP Delgado, if you could also briefly speak to the concept that our enrollment is up. Can you talk about how our enrollment number is calculated and what does up mean for the fall versus?
Well, it's when it says up, is that chart still up?
It is not.
Okay, okay, give me 1 second. Shoot. This is technology. Oh, if I close that, do I lose everybody? Ooh. Bear with me because I'm having a technical.
So while you're working on that, VP Rapolo, would you mind talking a little bit about class caps for the fall?
Yes, thank you, Carla. We have been in discussion with all academic chairs, and the proposal that I presented to all the chairs and as a group and individually is to raise the capacity, the course capacity to 30. We have been going back and forth between the number, obviously keeping the academic integrity, the curriculum, the best pedagogical practices. And that's a decision that we will have to make eventually regarding the course capacity that will benefit both the student, the faculty, and obviously be fiscally responsible. But as of this moment, I believe I answered some of the questions that it was posted by Alex. We're still in conversation, but it seems like 30 will be probably the number that we're going to move forward. Again, we need more guidance on this, and I'm just asking all the chairs to be patient, to work with me and with the president and under these difficult times.
And just to be clear, when you talk about the course capacity, are you referring to the same number of courses for both online as you would for in person?
For the online will be the number that we are that I'm proposing is 30. For the person, if we do decide to come back to if CUNY decide another starting that in the fall, we're going to have a percentage of classes or the full semester fully face-to-face. Obviously, we will have to reconsider that number. It will not be 30 because we will have to practice social distancing. So we will be working with all the academic chairs regarding the course capacity for those particular courses, the bio, the labs, yeah.
Thank you. So with that, I see we are back up on our screen. VP Delgado, if you could also address two issues while you're talking about the chart. Can you talk a little bit about what does it mean for our enrollment to actually be up, but it not to be having a positive impact on our overall budget? Specifically, where we are with how our enrollment numbers are being allocated per year. And can you also speak briefly to, sorry, I lost the question. I'll loop back. If you could speak to that, please.
So a couple of different things that I need to touch upon. So this chart that's up here is a daily chart that can be pulled out of CUNY First. And what it tells us is where we are at a very specific point in time. So yesterday at 5 o'clock, we had a head count of 3,979 students. I cannot make this screen bigger, by the way. If I make it bigger, it falls off the page.
But you can make it bigger from your end if you maximize your screen. The user can maximize their screen and then spread the size of the actual screen to be able to see the numbers.
If other people can, awesome. So on this very same day, last year at this time, our enrollment was 3,971. The number at the end of the day last year, when they did the census head count, was 10,040. These are how close we are to the end goal compared to the 10,040. So compared to last year, yesterday at 5 o'clock, we are 0.1 ahead in this one moment of time. Now, whenever we talk about the enrollment, since I've been here, I've only been here for 3 years, the numbers that we get from CUNY have been on a decline, meaning that the number that they give us to hit has been less. And when we make that number, we're just making a less number. So I don't know how to say that better. So instead of, enrollment being 100, then they said next year you're going to be 90. So, oh, we made the 90. Yay, we made the 90. But the year before we were at 100. And then the following year, CUNY says, well, given your trajectory in the past 5 years, we're now going to say that your enrollment is going to be 80. And we make 85 and we get really excited that, oh, we made the numbers. Well, in actuality, a year and a half ago, we were at 100. I'm hoping that's a better way to explain what I'm trying to say.
Yes, and if you could also speak to, we have a certain proportion, I know we went through the numbers very quickly, we have a certain amount of money that has been set aside for the CARES Act, and that's reserved for students. Do students know the process to request and access the funds? Is there anything that they need to be proactively doing in order to?
The only thing that the student needs to do is make sure that they have a FAFSA on file. We have notified all the students that they needed to have a FAFSA. An email went out from CUNY Central, an email went out from Financial Aid, an email went out from me. Any students that we see that should have filled out a FAFSA, because it's not a matter of their EFC, which is their family their family economic contribution. It's a matter of that the FAFSA be filled out. We are working to make sure that those students are doing that. So all the students they don't have to ask for this money, it's coming to them. It's the block of students who would qualify but who haven't filled out a FAFSA that is a problem, and we are working to reach out to those students.
President, we have a question for you, which is regarding what, I'm sorry.
There was one more thing that I wanted to say, which is a concern for me, because we're always making sure that we capture all our students. So I'm sure all of you have shopped on Amazon, and you know that you have an intention to buy something and you'll put it in the shopping cart, but then you don't hit buy now. It's just sitting in the shopping cart. As of yesterday, we have 370 students who are sitting in the shopping cart. This is a typical number for us, and normally we target these students. However, in looking at the data yesterday, I noticed that there was a very different pattern in their shopping. Normally last year when we started looking at this, students would only put in their shopping cart 1 or 2 courses. This time around, what I noticed that there were students who were putting 4 to 5 courses in their shopping cart. I believe that that shopping difference has to do whether or not we are going to be online or not. I think the student wants to hold their class, they know what schedule they want, but they will then pull the trigger, for lack of a better word, once there's an official announcement of how much is going to be online, if it's going to be asynchronous or not asynchronous. synchronous or asynchronous. I think one of the things that I hear repeatedly from our students is they actually don't mind the online learning. It's a preference to synchronous versus asynchronous. So I think that's this group of 377, I would not be surprised if we find out that we say they're all online and they're going to be all asynchronous. I'm not saying that is what's going to happen, but if they were to hear that, I think we would lose a portion of these students who will say, I will take a gap year and I will wait until the spring. Just wanted to share that in terms of an enrollment perspective.
VP Delgado, we have a two-part question for you before we pivot to the president to talk a little bit more about budget questions. If, Irene, if you could speak to this issue. If our budget allocation is based on, you guys are beating me to the punch with these messages.
Although I really want to answer the question from Bob is why is our numbers holding when every other school is tanking?
So that's the second part of the question. Could you start with the one from Professor Clampman, please? And then also answer the question about from Professor Bushman.
Howie, if CUNY is projecting an 8% decrease in enrollment and we are at a break-even enrollment, won't our budget allocation increase? That's a question for Kay. That is not a question for me. I do want to answer Bob's question about why we're doing so well. I think we've taken a really concerted effort working with Lester. We have really brought together the Office of Academic Affairs and the Office of Student Success to really work together and partner. And instead of being in silos, we have a weekly meeting where we are laying out and troubleshooting where all the problems are. I also think one of the things that really separates us right now is that once we moved to the online modality, there were a lot of CAs who now couldn't do their job from home. You know what I mean? Like their job was something that was physically happening on campus. So we immediately moved to a call center that Ken Adams can speak to. We have about 25 employees who are working in the call center, and we are diligently reaching out to students and solving all their problems. And I think the fact that, not that I think, I know the feedback that Ken is getting from the students is, oh my God, thank you. I felt I was so alone. I can do this. I'm feeling more confident. And I think that self-efficacy that the student is feeling is translating into, I think I'm okay to register for classes in the summer and in the fall. I think there's been a very concerted effort, more so than my counterparts at the other colleges. And I won't share, you know, the recipe that's, you know, the secret sauce.
So before we move over to the president, I just wanted to sort of very broadly address some of the questions that are coming back and forth about online course caps and asynchronous versus synchronous learning. The president has established the BCC Reoccupancy Advisory Committee, and that committee was addressed at the last Senate meeting, but everyone may not have been there for that. And it also was in the president's report along with the list of those people who are going to be participating in the committee. They should be starting their work within the next week to 2 weeks. And as they're doing their work, they're going to be soliciting information from the broad campus community. There is a representative from the PSC. There's a representative from the faculty of chairs, a student, a CLT, HEOs, ECPs. There is hopefully broad representation across the campus. They're going to be asking for people to provide feedback on exactly the types of things that you're raising in this chat as far as the student experience and how to make sure that we are adequately addressing our marketing needs. So we would ask that for some of those things, we may not be able to address them today, but they will be tackled throughout the summer and throughout the fall semester by that committee, who's then providing recommendations and feedback to the president. With that, President, if you could please address the question that came earlier regarding where more specifically we've been seeing cuts across the campus in order to meet our reduction needs. Are those reductions specifically taking place in the Office of Academic Affairs, or have they taken place in other areas of the campus? And where else do you think that they might be planned moving forward to meet this 10% cut need?
Last year, I mean, I think Kate can speak eloquently to that. Most of the cut came from the administrative areas. The number of public safety, the number of custodians, the number of people in power plants, the number of people in the various administrative areas. But if we're going to implement the 10% cut, remember there are contracts and labor rules that we got to follow. And within a very short time, I think I said this earlier, it's going to be very difficult. 90% or plus of our budget is in personnel. I think we got to put that with the OTPS this year. I think it's less than $10 million. So most of the overhead it's in personnel. And if I say we're looking at all of the staffing in the different areas, yes, I am. But you got to remember that I can't use a magic wand to just say we're going to make people disappear in the different areas. You got to look at them within the various contracts and CUNY labor rules and laws. I said those are some of the things I'm beginning to find out. All of them is becoming obvious to me. So I'm looking at, again, I'm not going to discuss individual employment issue here, but I'm looking at all of the different areas. There's hiring freeze in place, which we talked about the last town hall meeting. There's a university vacancy review board that we have to submit all positions to. So that's one way, not just in adjunct faculty, not just as college assistants, all of the Hill lines, all of the advisor lines, all of the different lines. It's my responsibility to make sure that when we get the guidelines from CUNY, that we balance the budget. So again, without going and telling you that this is, I'm going to look at all of the areas. I think that's how I can comment that when I have a specific plan, I'll meet with PMB, I'll meet with the Senate exec, and I'll lay it out to them where we're going. But I need you to keep in mind again that we have whenever we get this information, we have a very small window. And we have rules and contracts in place regarding hiring that even from the different program area, you're not just going to just take a swipe and wipe out people in the area. From the OTPS, there's really nothing we can cut there. It's very, very little we can look in OTPS. So I think I said that in the introduction. I'm looking at travel. Thank God CUNY's put a travel ban in place. So all of the money from travel, I said, okay, yesterday, we got to find a way to factor that into the whatever percentage cut. Professional development money, we're going to move all of that to the COVID-19, hopefully the second half of the COVID-19 money if we get that. All of the online professional development training, all of anything that has to do with online or remote learning, we're going to move all of that training and use the COVID money to cover it. So professional development money, that whatever is in our budget area, that's one area we need to look into. I think I said it the last time. I'm going to say reassign times for the fall. We're not going to do that, or again, where we can, unless it's crucial vital. Reassign time that is contractual negotiated, that is PSC reassign time, yes. Reassign time that are coming from different grants, yes. But some of the reassign time that we're giving at our institutions so now before we're not going to do them. I think it's clear there. It's the budget this year is a difficult one for me because of the short window of time. The following year's budget, if things don't really improve, I said it to my team, it gives me time to really look at the whole structural organization of the area and decide what we're going to do. Some areas we may have to collapse together. Again, without going into details, I'm looking at different areas to see here. Why do you have three different operating areas all in the same areas? How do we collapse those units together to provide for efficiency and also save money? Those are areas that we're looking at. Some of all of the labs we have on campus, if we're not going to be here in the fall, again, assuming we're not here, how do we close some of those labs, save some of the savings that was the balancing of the budget? I think those are all issues that I am looking at the appropriate time, at the specifics. I will consult with the appropriate group.
And President, there's a question that I'm going to read directly because I think it will help clarify for many of the people that are on the room. $9 million projected cut does not include the infusion of money from the federal government and other campus savings. This includes the $4.8 million for BCC from CARES Act, $600,000 from BCC for BCC as an HSI, and also potential funds from FEMA and possible monies from another federal stimulus bill. And there must have been savings in energy and OTPS since March because the campus had been closed, which was a question that also came up earlier. What types of savings did we see while people have been away from the campus? My point is the overall 10% reduction does not account for the infusions of money. So can you speak a little bit to how CARES, HSI, FEMA, and stimulus money can be used to offset the $9 million projected cut?
At this point, we've not been told that we can. First of all, the CARE Act money that came in here, the second half of the money, the federal guidelines as passed by the Senate and the House, all of those expenses directly go to COVID-related expenses. You cannot use them for operational expenses. That's basically clear. It's in the guidelines. We can forward that out to everybody. You cannot use that second half of the money to plug the hole in your budget. The HSI money, which is for minority spending institutions, we have the money there. We don't know what guidelines. But again, I do believe you cannot use those money to plug a hole into your operational budget. If there is a third stimulus plan that is passed by the House and the Senate, I think that's maybe of assistance. I think that's where the city and the state is really looking for help from the federal government. Our governor met with the president yesterday. I think part of the discussion there is part of that stimulus plan is to see on how some of that money can come into the state, and obviously to trickle down to us for operational purposes. As at this time, none of those money that you just mentioned about that we've been told can be used for operational purposes. If you talk about reserve, the college's reserve, if we remember the financial plan that we submitted to you that was approved by CUNY, which been able to live up to, I believe at the end of the fiscal year, our reserve would be K400 and something.
No, our projection going into the third quarter was that it would be 231,000.
Okay, I just 200, yeah. So 250 something. You're not going to use 200 and something thousand to plug a hole in a $9 million budget. And I don't think CUNY would not even allow you to do that, because as per Middle States regulation, you must have some substantive money in your reserve account. So I think let's be clear about that. Most of the money as at now that is coming from the feds cannot be used as operational money. I think one of the delays in the budget from CUNY is that there is the state budget that was passed gives the budget director the authority to go into the budget 3 times a year to further reduce the budget. So one of the delays you're finding from CUNY, that why this budget is being moved all the way to the end of June, is to see if the state is going to get any supplemental grant or any supplemental money from the federal government that will consequently, and the city, I believe, that will consequently pass on to us as an institution.
So we continue to see questions in the chat regarding the reductions from areas that are non-academic. And so with that, I would, I'm sorry, there's a question from, or a statement from Irene, my apologies. Go ahead.
Oh, I just, when I was talking about the secret sauce and I put it in the notes, I would be remiss to not point out that when you were looking at those enrollment numbers, 90% of those numbers are coming from our continuing students. And that hard work, besides coming from the partnership between Student Success and our Provost office, the Office of Academic Affairs, our advisors are killing themselves, reaching out to students, helping them, talking to them, and that crosses, ASAP, CD, Future Now, Academic Success Center. And then I would be remiss in not mentioning the Registrar's Office and the Financial Aid Office and the Admissions Office and the Marketing Office. We are all really working in tandem. We are trying to find efficiencies so we don't duplicate efforts and get our biggest bang for the buck. So I really just needed to give a shout out to those team members, because without them, we would not be anywhere. So I had to make that remark.
Carla, you can go back.
Yes, so a couple of questions have been coming through the chat regarding non-academic reductions in cost and expenses. Some of you may remember being at the convocation in, I believe, fall of 2019. At that convocation, we had just received notice that we needed to make approximately a $5.5 million cut in our overall expenditures, and a plan was put in place at that point for the majority of those expenses to come out of the areas of our administration and finance specifically. Those included a number of activities such as the reduction of overtime for public safety, the reduction of overtime for those working in the physical plant services, the backfilling of positions such as our Chief of Public Safety. We had a number of other non-backfills, such as Robin Auchincloss's position when she departed from the college. We've had reductions that have taken place in spending in many of those areas, reductions in the costs associated with procurement. We have had reductions in backfills and not filling vacancies that have come up in the Division of Advancement, Communications and External Relations as well. And all of those things were taking place prior to a discussion about any reductions existing in the Division of Academic Affairs. So I don't know if VP Delgado or Ellis or Bayardell might want to speak a little bit more to the changes that have taken place in their divisions, but I do think it's important for everyone to be aware that that the discussion of reductions did not begin with the discussion of adjuncts. The discussion of reductions began in the summer of 2019 regarding overall campus operations. Would anyone like to address that?
Oh, I think you really laid those out very well, Carla. Thank you very much. I do want to add that this has been a reduction over several years, and there's been a lot of collaboration behind the scenes with all the divisions to be able to ensure that the impact was behind the scenes before we got to this particular point in time. The other part is, I think that it's important to note that the productivity and the performance of all the areas have continued to be solid and consistent, even though some of the attrition has reduced the physical people in particular areas. And this is particularly through this COVID period, when our business office, mailroom, they've all continued to, perform in a stellar manner.
Again, I just want to emphasize here, if you look at our biggest issue here is personnel. 90% of our budget, again, is spent on salaries. So if people are talking, there are various grant programs, which the part of money for ASAP, College Now, CUNY-START, MAT-START, discovery programs. Those are restricted funded lines directly from the central office. So if we're looking at programs there, as long as those programs are funded by the central office, we will operate those programs to the level at which they are funded. If there are cuts coming to those programs, we will apply those cuts correspondingly in the operations of those programs on campus. I don't think I know that there's the whole question about the adjunct faculty. There's the whole question about of the college assistants. As I said earlier on, I think I don't want this to be just that focus. I am going to look at all of the different areas and implement whatever we need to do according to wherever ability we can, or within the rules and regulations if we can. The non-reappointment of adjunct faculty, I think it's, yes, they're part of our community, but I think if it has to do with enrollment, if it has to do with finances, we will look and make a judicial decision on how best to balance both. That's, I think, the point I think we need to drive on. But Lester and Luis, I know you've been working on that. You've been reaching out to the different departments because we don't want to make a decision in vacuum to say you're not appointing anybody. I know some institutions where they've admitted all of the lines. What I've said to both of them is that you need to work with the chairs. We got to find a balance to see how we can work to keep as many of those adjunct faculty as we can.
So I see that we are starting to wind towards the end of our time for today. I want to be mindful of the fact that we scheduled for 90 minutes. We will remain on the Zoom chat for people who may have some additional questions, but I do want the president to be able to wrap up before people need to start making their way out of the group. One thing that I just wanted to point out, which we started with in the conversation, is that this is an incredibly stressful and anxiety-inducing, provoking, and riddled time for every single person that's on this chat. Not just because you may be ill or because your family members may be ill, but because people are just dealing with the circumstances of our nation and our state and our city and the university system. If you or someone that you're associated with feel like they are going to need some additional help right now, that could be help from an attorney, that could be mental health care, that could be physical health care. We all have access to the Employee Assistance Program through the City University of New York through Dear Oaks. Dear Oaks is something that you can access online without having to go through either the college's or the university's Human Resources Department. It's entirely confidential. It is free of cost for the beginning of services and then sometimes shifts to a sliding scale depending on your needs. If you do go to the Dear Oaks website, then you would use CUNY as your login and CUNY as your password, and then you'd be able to see sort of the the portfolio of what they offer. That's not only available for you, but that's also going to be available for the members of your family. And it's available to people that are in your network as long as they are associated with you as a CUNY employee. So right now, if you're aware of people who need some additional support and may not feel comfortable getting that support from the workplace, that's a great place to go. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the president to begin to wrap up.
Carla, I want to say thank you for coordinating this good job. I mean, thank you for, I think we're going to need more of this town hall. I hope you're going to step up to the plate again in the future to coordinate it for us. Again, I just want to repeat what you said. I know this is anxiety-filled times. I know it's a very difficult time. And trust me, when I wake up every morning, I think about every member of our institution, every member of our campus. How do we keep everybody here to continue the good job that everybody is doing? That's the first and foremost in my mind. I don't think I take it lightly to say we're reducing X or reducing Y. I think as a community, I can see all of the passion from all of you. It is because you love Bronx Community College. I want to say thank you for that. So as we go through this difficult time, I think we all got to stick with one another. We got to consult with one another, so that at the end of the day, we make decisions that are best for our institution. I know it's a tough time, it's a difficult time, and I know at the end of the day, we're going to come out a stronger institution. While we've been gone, the last time I know I meted a couple of groups, there are essential staff that are coming daily here to campus. I try to come in here twice a week and I see them every day. Our public safety team, the guys in the mail room, people are still getting their paychecks, the guys in the business office, our custodians, our power plant, and some of the people in shipping and receiving, all of the folks that have been coming here. I just want to say, express our thanks and appreciation to all of you. I think what's even important to all of the other staff doing the backroom work, the folks in the call center, the academic advisors, the faculty, the CLT guys. I mean, to me, I think this is like a car. All of the parts of the engine got to work for the car to run smoothly. And I want to say thank you to all of you. I think we all need to hang in there. I know it's a tough year and we're going to make some decisions. And I promise you, I'm going to consult with you and do what I think is right for our institution. Thank you very much. Stay safe and God bless all of you.
I see that there are some additional questions that are rolling in through the chat. If you have some questions that were not answered today and you feel can be answered, please feel free to email me at carla.williams@bcc.cuny.edu. I am putting that in the chat right now for anyone who might not have it. And we will get your questions funneled to the correct place. I know that there have been questions about things like summer schedules. We are planning for summer, four-week summer schedules, but waiting for CUNY to confirm. Questions about whether or not parking fees are going to be remitted for the remainder of the semester. I'm not quite sure that I have the answer to that. But
yes, the answer is yes. David Taylor, the auxiliary committee will be meeting. I've asked Kay to reach out to David to make sure we compute all of the parking for the spring and refund the funds back to the individuals. Yes, the answer to that is yes.
And we will work with HR to make sure that a robust broadcast goes out very shortly that gives you all the information on Deer Oaks should you wish to access it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone for being here today. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. All right, let me get out of here.
All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and turn off our recording and close the meeting. And so thank you guys so much. Irene, I think you're on mute if you're talking to me.
Wonderful job, Carla, as always.
I don't know. Are we going to wait for everyone to log off and us chat or no?
Let's
Because we can see as everybody logs off.
yeah, the last time we did this, people didn't all log off.
Oh, okay.
So we ended up closing the, actually, I might be able to do that. If you give me just 1 second.
Sure.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
You too. Feel better soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Who was that?
Amy.
Me. I'm leaving though.
Hi, Amy.
Hey, Lester, would you mind texting the president and having him hop back in the room?
Yeah.
Thank you. You can use the same link.
Okay.
Paulette, you need to hang up.
I got her. Don't worry.
Sorry.
And who's Galaxy Note?
He's trying to log in, Carla.
We have Galaxy Note and Jean Keys still on?
And I do not appear to be able to remove them from the room.
Okay. Galaxy Note 10 and John Keys are still on. I'm assuming they don't know how to get off?
They may not be standing by their computer.
Oh.
Or phone.
Do you want to do a different Zoom then? Because
oh, we got one. We're just waiting for Galaxy Note. Let's try one more time. Oh, wait, let me see if I can do it this way. There we go.
There you go.
So I'm gonna text.
Let me tell Kay. Oh,
I think he's trying. I think he's on, right?
He's
Is
there.
Thomas on?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
He's in. He's just got his screen off.
I just texted Kay.
Okay. I'm gonna send one to the group chat, the BCC group chat.
And
Is Eddie in?
It's Eddie, yeah.
I'm gonna let him know right now.
And Ken.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean,
No, I think it went really well. I mean, everyone, we provided really concise answer.
you can feel the anxiety of doing in the air, but I don't think it's as bad as.
Can you guys give me just 1 second? I want to make sure I turn our recording off.